This is going to be a video. I'm going to make a series of when... I'm going to call this Your Argument's Invalid. Now, the argument isn't invalid. It's the people making the assertion that make it invalid. I'm going to cover this as quick as I can because I just spent 15 minutes on one part. So I'm going to start with the other parts first. Black on Black Crime, The Myth That Divides, by Rashina Fountain, passionate writer and social justice commentator embracing a more sustainable way of living. As an undergraduate creative writing major, I'm offended. It doesn't actually explain what I was looking up, but it is the only one that came up quickly on Huffington Post's Black on Black Crime. I'm trying to find out where this expression came from, because to a reasonable person, I'm assuming everybody watching is reasonable, which is not necessarily a good idea, you would assume that black on black crime would be the statistic of how many times black people commit criminal acts against black people, and white on white crime would be, don't type it in without the word crime, you'll get porn sites. Apparently people are more offended by porn sites than murder statistics. But blacks committing crimes against whites and whites committing crimes against blacks, that would be white on black and black on white crime. This gets really complicated verbally. Alright, so what did I do? This is one of my little devil's advocate things. I look up the assertion someone left me in a comment with a link, finally, thank you. And I'm going to read their statistics they say proves their point. And the funny part is, the place they cite it from also makes this assertion, and I'm going to read the statistics to you. We're going to use the proper terminology here so I don't sound wrong. Tigger warning. Okay, we're not going to call it the D move, we're going to call it the penis move. That's when you shoot yourself in the penis while when you shoot yourself in the foot, okay? Don't send me a proof that disproves you, especially when it's in the article. Anyway, the first one here is the blog, yada yada, Rasheen Fountain. I don't even care what it says 2050, it doesn't matter. It's the first one I could find when looking up black on black crime, or black on black on Huffington Post. It's still, this is what I got. Okay, I'm not making this up. I'm not looking for the weakest argument. I swear to God I'm not. It's a set of assertions. You can read it. I'm not going to go through it because it's words, words, words. Okay, next. The prospect. Why black on black crime is a dangerous idea. Okay, and the assertion here is that it paints this, that is a frame that proposes, or presupposition, that of black criminality, that black people are more criminal. Now, let's review. If I say black on black crime versus white on white crime, does that presume white criminality? White oppression of blacks, black oppression of whites. One of these sounds funny to say, but let's say it. If I say blacks oppress white people, and I show it happening in the comment section on somebody's video, when it wasn't about race for some blasted reason, it just had to happen anyway, is that proof of black on white oppression? Okay, but I'm framing it as blacks oppressing whites, okay? Or black criminality, or black oppression, when black people oppress black people, right? Okay, now we're going to do this one. The point is, this is the assertion, that blackness has nothing to do with anything. Black on black crime is a frame, or a meme, that presupposes black criminality. There's something inherent to blackness which makes intra-group crime more prevalent and more deadly. And that's nonsense. Intergroup means, okay, I'm going to take out the wordiness. Black people attack black people more often, or they don't, than any other group. The victim versus, okay. Now I'm going to bring up this one here. 5 facts, quote-unquote, that shatter the myth of black on black crime. I'm going to quote, this is going to be quoted different ways, and the numbers are not going to match up because statistics are like that when you collect them from a certain standpoint. It's from, literally, I think I call it statistical perspective. Felony murder. I'm only going to do felony murder here. I'm not talking about the rest of it. Okay, we're just talking about the one thing that you can't recover of because you're dead. And I'm not making fun of this. I'm really not. Homicide type and race from 1980 to 2008. Now I'm going to read the statistics to you. You can go check them. And then after I'm done, I'm going to read back the assertions from this article that they say is backed up by these two graphs. Okay. Homicides. Felony murder. As opposed to non-felony murder. Anyway, felony murder. 53% were white victims, 44% were black victims. Now, on the other column, the person who killed them, all murders, they didn't specify race, 38.4% of the murderers were white, almost 60% were black. Okay, that is the assertion made by this. Now look up the percentages of human beings in the United States that are black versus white. Now this is the problem with statistics. If you're going to quote them, don't misquote them, please. Alright, gang-related, etc., etc. There's a lot of things in here. I'm only looking at felony murder because the other one is only about felony murder. That's really the reason. There's a bunch of stuff in here like gun homicide, arson, and poisoning. Poisoning showed up, good God. But gun homicide. White people were victims 46% of the time, 51% of the time were black victims. And 41% of the time people were killed with a gun, it was by a white person. 56% it was a black person. Again, the assertion here is that blacks are not more criminal and they don't kill each other more often if I'm going to use the grammatically correct version of black on black violence, crime, whatever. Now we're just going to do homicides for just 2011. If the victim is white and there's 3,100 of them, 3,100 white people killed that year on the statistics for homicide statistics for FBI, depending on how you define a homicide. 2,600 people killed by white people. 448 were killed by black. All right? Black people were killed 2,600 times. 2,600 of them were killed. White people killed them 193 times. The rest of the time, 2,448 or 2,400 of them killed by blacks. That's actually what it means. The statistics of black people attacking whites or killing whites shows a bigger number, but the ratio is different, so you can do the statistics on this if you want to. But it shows that black people are murdered by black people in a number that's comparable to white people being murdered by white people. And on the cross-race thing, when it was a black person getting killed, there was about 200, almost 200, and when it was a black person killing a white person, it was 400, because there were more white people to kill, I guess. Okay, those are the statistics they're quoting. Now I'm going to read the assertions of 5 facts that shatter the myth of black on black crime. Now I'm going to read these verbatim, and I'll try to explain them. The first assertion. I really didn't look for the lamest version of this I could. I looked for the one that was cited most. 81% of white murder victims were white. That is literally a direct quote of the top. I'm sure it's a typo, but let's move on. Let's just not think about that. FBI homicide statistics. Murders for the 28 years between 1980 and 2008. They don't lie. Okay, here we go. The fact that no media outlet will say words white on white murder, despite statistics, shows the desire to bend words to conform to racist viewpoints. Or the default assumption I made, because I'm a victim of violence, is I assume white people are going to attack me more because there's more of them. Okay, we'll call it white on white violence. Do we get a white entertainment awards dinner too? Anyway, next. Whites kill more whites than black people kill each other. Now, that was not borne out, but okay. Here we go. Now, this is the way they're interpreting the statistics. They're saying literally 2,600 white people killed 3,100 white people. No. Out of 3,100 people that were white that were killed, 2,600 of them were killed by white people. And again, direct misquote. 2,400 African Americans were murdered by black person out of the 2,600. Instead of it saying it murdered more people. Okay, now the reason I'm bringing this up is not all the murders were done by the other. They literally read the same numbers I read, and that was their assertion. Okay, next. White people commit more crimes than any other race because there's more of us. White people kill more members of vulnerable populations, it's not race here, than any other race. Again, there's more of us. Are you talking about per capita, which is how you would do the statistics to determine if white people are more violent than black, or vice versa? Gang murders are most common among white gangs. Yeah. I'm not going to read the assertion from that because I'm not going to... Okay, now this is the thing. The comment section, I'm not going to even quote the comment section. Anyway, that was from a website called US Uncut. I'm not going to make a joke there. Just, let's keep... I'm not going to make a South Park reference. Next, the black on black crime myth that divides, the blog on the Huffington Post. Done by passionate writer and social justice commentator embracing a more sustainable way of life, Rashina Fountain, as an undergraduate creative writing major. Creative writing and crime statistics. I'm not going to go any further. You can read this. These are the ones that came up first. These are the ones that were also cited because they came up first. It's not my fault. Why black on black crime is a dangerous idea. Because the default is white on white crime, and I guess we have to say that. What is the percentage of the population in the United States that are black versus white? I'm not going to quote the number because I'll be screamed at. I know it. I'd like to also bring up that other was the only... because the number of people who weren't black or white murdering people was vanishingly small. Statistically still significant, but really... So, almost half of the murders are done by white people, over half, and almost half are done by black people or something? Is that what's going on? Okay. What's the percentage of black people? Now the thing is, I don't think that black people are inherently more violent or murderous. I don't believe that they have a culture of violence or murder. I don't believe that at all. I think that's a bunch of horse shit. You hear people saying this all the time. But I'm starting to wonder if social justice warriors can't understand statistics. And why is it every newspaper is posting this kind of stuff without actually proofreading any of it? I won't bring up the spelling and grammar errors. I won't bring up any of it. I'll be called a grammar Nazi. Or grandma Nazi. Next. Washington Times News, Aaron Goggins, Black Lives Matter organization, blah, blah, blah. And then the myths of Black Lives Matter. And I'll just bring up the Huffington Post article, and finally, the Fast Facts. It's under a subgroup, an entire subdirectory of Black Lives Matter assertions, postings, and articles. How about statistician lives matter? Or dumb lies don't matter? Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with all that.